Okay, so the EU AI Act. It's massive, it's finally here, and honestly, almost everyone is looking at it completely wrong. We tend to see it as this huge legal maze or some kind of impossible tech problem. But what if I told you it's actually a process challenge? In this explainer, we're going to completely reframe it and show you how to build the solution. I want you to really focus on this one sentence, because this right here is the key that unlocks the entire puzzle. It says the act isn't really about your fancy algorithm. It's about the processes your organization uses to design, to deploy, and to maintain that algorithm. And believe me, that changes absolutely everything. So let's just get this straight once and for all. Getting compliant with the EU AI Act isn't about hiring a bunch more lawyers to write documents or bringing in more data scientists to tweak your models. It's about building an operational system that is robust, that you can repeat, and that you can actually prove is working. This is a fundamental shift in how we need to think about this. And that right there brings us to the central challenge facing pretty much any organization using AI. You see, the law is incredibly specific about the results it wants from you, but it gives you almost zero guidance on how to actually get there. And this creates a massive implementation gap. Now, just for a quick refresher, let's remember what we're talking about here. The AI Act is a huge deal. It's the first comprehensive law of its kind, and its reach is global. It doesn't matter if your company is in California or Calcutta. If your AI systems results are used inside the EU, this law applies to you, period. And here's what that gap actually looks like in practice. On one side, the law hands you this long list of things you must have: a risk management system, data governance, a quality management system. It's a whole checklist of destinations. But on the other side, nothing. A giant chasm. The law tells you exactly what you need to achieve, but it's totally silent on how to do it. So, the big question is, how do you bridge that gap? Well, here's the kicker. This isn't some brand new, unsolvable problem. Not at all. The challenge of managing complex, high-stakes, automated systems, well, it's already been solved by other industries, and they cracked this nut decades ago. This comparison is just perfect. Seriously, think about it for a second. An AI system takes in data, it runs it through a model, and it gives you a result. An assembly line takes in raw materials, runs them through machinery, and spits out a car. What the EU AI Act is asking for is simply the same level of rigorous discipline for your AI that a quality management system has demanded on a factory floor for years. You know, this whole idea of making sure complex things are safe, high quality, and consistent, it was perfected in industries where failure is just not an option. We're talking about building airplanes, making medicines, putting together cars. The discipline is already there, we just need to learn from it and apply it. Okay, so how do you take all that industrial strength discipline and actually apply it to AI? Well, it's been organized into a framework called Integrated Process Excellence, or IPE. And really, the best way to think about IPE is as the operating system for your entire compliance program. Now look, IPE is not just another boring checklist to tick off. It's a full-on system for weaving that same manufacturing-grade discipline into the very fabric of how your organization works. It's about building the core architecture so that compliance becomes a natural result of your daily operations, not some extra chore you have to bolt on at the end. And it all boils down to 4 logical phases that feed into each other. First, you document and standardize how you do things. Then, you make sure everyone knows exactly what their role is. Next, you measure and control how things are performing, in real time. And finally, and this is key, you use all that data to constantly get better. It's a virtuous cycle, a loop where you just get stronger and more efficient. All right, this is where the rubber really meets the road. Let's take this IPE framework and plug it directly into those scary requirements from the EU AI Act. Let's see how it provides the how-to for the law's what. Check this out. The connection is so direct, it's almost beautiful. Article 9 of the Act says you must have a risk management system, while IPE delivers a risk architecture using a battle-tested tool called FMEA, which is just a systematic way to find and fix problems before they can ever happen. The Act demands data governance. IPE gives you a data quality framework using statistical process control to make sure your data is stable and reliable. You see the pattern here? For every single what the law throws at you, IPE provides the proven how. And what's so important to get is that the Act doesn't just care about one moment in time. No, it demands this level of discipline across the entire AI lifecycle. You need it when you're first designing the system, you need it when you deploy it, and you absolutely need it for all the ongoing maintenance. And guess what? IAP is built to cover that exact lifecycle.
So let's look at the design phase. The Act demands you think about risk right from the very beginning. So to meet Article 9 on risk, IPE uses that tool we just mentioned, FMEA. It's like a pre-mortem for your AI project, letting you find and fix potential failures. And it provides similar, proven industrial tools for all the other stuff too, like data quality, documentation, and the overall quality system.
Now, this discipline continues right into the maintenance phase, and for a lot of companies, this is the toughest part. Article 72 demands ongoing monitoring. IPE provides the framework for this, using tools like statistical process control to spot when your AI starts drifting off course. And when a problem does pop up, you use systematic problem-solving methods like 8D to find the real root cause and make sure it never happens again.
So there you have it. That's the blueprint. Now let's talk about actually building this thing, about moving from theory to action. Because as you're about to see, the clock is seriously ticking. Yeah, these dates are coming up fast. Enforcement for some of the most prohibited stuff is already starting. And by August 2026, you need to have full compliance for high-risk systems. This is not something you can just slap together overnight. You need to start laying the foundation right now. And hey, if you're sitting there thinking, well, this sounds like a problem for the big guys, not for my small company, think again. The Act literally mentions small and medium enterprises 38 different times. It was designed to be scalable, and so are these process-based solutions. The core principles work whether you're a team of 10 or 10,000. So really, you're at a fork in the road. You have two ways to approach compliance. The traditional path is to hire consultants who give you a binder full of documents, static artifacts that end up collecting dust on a shelf. The IPE methodology is totally different. It builds the actual operational process, a living, self-sustaining engine that produces compliance as a natural part of how it runs. Which brings us full circle, right back to where we started. This is the absolute core truth of the EU AI Act. It was never just about the AI model itself. It's always been about the organizational processes that wrap around it from start to finish. So if there's one thing you take away from this, let it be this. True sustainable compliance isn't about having a pretty stack of papers. Auditors and regulators are going to look at your operational reality. It's about having the right operational discipline baked into the DNA of your organization. And so I'll leave you with one final question to think about for your own team. Take a hard look at your approach. Are you just building compliance artifacts, paperwork, and documents that will be outdated in a month? Or are you actually building a compliance engine? Because the answer to that question will determine your success in this new era.